I gotta take a minute to go into what I'm using for my motor mounts on the Panasonic. You're certainly familiar with these CD-ROM drive units. I've already taken about a dozen of these apart for grommets, but I've misplaced them, so I managed to find a couple that haven't been touched yet. So I take the few screws off the bottom. You need a special tool to open these when there's no power applied, so there you go. The field eject tool for CD-ROM drives. Just take your paper clip, bend it out, make your own special tool to eject the dough. And we'll also do him while we're at it, because I'll get another set. I gotta get a little more on this one. Oh, there we go. No prizes. Occasionally you'll find a disc in there, but for what it's worth. Okay. Now we just go take the rest of the front panel off and get inside. And I don't recall which way I need to get to what I want to. Pretty much. And these also will work in the RCA players also. I've used them, especially with a magnetic cartridge. The rumble is very, very small. Of course, it's on the other side. Let's get our DC motor off here. Remove the circuit board. Cover, remove our magnet. These three here are what I'm going to use. Maybe some of you out there know why there's always one that's a different color, but I don't know, I use them just the same. Get 1, 2, 3, and that's just how many we need for the motor on the Panasonic. I have rubber grommet assortment, but just none of them fit. They're all too big or too stiff, or they just... And you throw the rest away. I'll take him and him. Careful not to tear it. And him. Perfect. Okay, this is where our 3 mounts will go. Right there. I'm trying to do this without taking the motor out, but this deck simply comes out for removal and servicing. I may want to get under it anyway. I'd like to get a drop of oil in those bearings underneath there. Okay, like so. I'll show you a piece of the old bearing, okay, for comparison, here's what was left of the old ones. These are going to be perfect. I don't know if it's because they're imported like these, the same size, I don't know, but they work really well. Just put our screw back in there, and I'll do all 3 of these. Okay, the mounts are in, all 3. And the alignment is good on the belt. The capstan, flywheel, everything. I gave it a few spins manually, in good order. Alright, next, I'm just going to swab the head down there a little bit, clean the tape path, and we'll apply power and see how it does. I did put a little oil on the top of the capstan, but I want to get a drop on that oil. I'll take this out later and service it more completely. The switches and this here can be problematic sometimes, the track change mechanism. And yeah, this does have fast forward and record. That's why I chose this model. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Okay, we have power. All the dial lights are lit. I cleaned the controls, so we have volume, balance, tone. When you record, I noticed, it has a monitoring switch. When you record, you see the meter there, the level is actually the volume control, and you can monitor it. That's fine. But as suspected, if you, this is the track change here, and this configuration here with the solenoid plunger and the rotary track change where the head goes up into the elevator and all that, that's gummed up. And that's, let's get that off there. Okay, like I was saying, the I can hit the track change, but I don't want to do it too much. It's not jammed, but it's not turning, so that'll be probably a daytime project. I'd like to see if it at least plays the tape, though. This is the insert switch. Let's see if the capstan turns. There it is. Okay, the motor sounds good. It's coasting. Good. We're going to go out and fix a tape. This was a tape I just grabbed out of the bunch, and it was playing in another player quite well. I tried it in a second player, and it played until the track change. There's some better focus here. So I did catch it at the break, so I'm just going to take some tape and let's take some shipping tape here. It's pretty thin, and cut a 1/4 inch piece, a little under, and just tack that back together. The pad is worn too. I'll rebuild this now at a later date like everything, but let's just patch it so it'll play. Okay, looks like for now we're on track 2. Not our best splice work, but it'll get us through one revolution till we can do the pads and everything else on this. Let's just see if it plays. I know this is piano. The sound is good on it as far as speed-wise goes. I don't know where tape is here. Well, that's our monitor switch volume, obviously. Well, we're just going to have to stick it in and see what... There we go. I think. No, that's AM. The fidelity's not the best, but the speed is good. That's what I'm concerned with. Okay, that'll do it for part 1 of this. Again, the track change isn't going to occur. This will all have to be taken out, cleaned, and it'll work again. And we'll work on the sound. Probably still a head clog. I don't know. Maybe a demag. Check it out a little more. That's the balance. Okay, I think our loss of fidelity and distortion is the lack of tape to head contact, of course, with the foam being on. So I just stuck a piece of shipping foam in there for a second. Just a quick test here. That sounds fine. I'm more concerned with the speed right now. Okay, that'll do it for part one. Do a little more work on that head track change unit there so we can change the tracks. That'll do it for part one. I did just happen to catch it at the track change there. There's our splice. Not too bad, but the foil peeled back. So we'll service this tape at a later date. But fidelity was pretty good actually, and the speed is right on. So I'm happy about that. That'll be a nice machine when it's all put back. Alright, that'll do it for now. Thanks for watching. One last thing about these tapes. You can't just get a machine that's in good working condition. Just put any 8-track in it. There's forums. You can look elsewhere to find out how to restore these carts, but the foam, different cartridges have different problems. Some have the pinch roller is decomposed on Ampex. There's all different methods. The best one is the one with the beryllium copper pads. That's the best out there as far as that foam pad deterioration goes. Yeah, well, that's it. Well, it made it around once, so we'll leave it at that and get us some foil tape and open it up, replace the foam if so be it. Okay, that's it for now. Okay, day 2 on the Panasonic. Daylight helps a little bit here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the 8-track unit. It's only 2 plugs there, and the audio feed is over there. So we'll get this out, and we'll take a look at that mechanism right there. This is a recorder, and there's actually 3 sets of connections. There's one here. I'll do this off camera. The gray one here, the white, the dark gray here, the light gray here, and the white is over here. Okay, we've got our 3 signal wires. These have little ear tabs here that luckily didn't break off, and those 2 there. Those 3 signal wires there, and I gingerly work this one up with my spudger to help. I don't want to pull by the wires. Pull him out. And Panasonic, as always, red screws are usually what you need to remove to get major assemblies out. So here we are. Okay, take this in the next room. Now it's time for the part not looking forward to. In any event, I've taken pictures. I'll get these wires out of the way. This is the rotary switch that changes the indicator lights, but it also has the plunger here, solenoid controlled by there's a diode over here and power from the supply and whatnot. And yeah, I think they're individually numbered here. I don't know. There's numbers here. I'm just taking notes. And we're going to take this off. These wires out of the way and get a look at the mechanism down here and see what's stopped up. Okay, I've lifted this 120 ohm resistor here. This appears to be the ground for all the lights right here. And okay, we're going to lift these 2 screws. I may have to take this C-clip off of here. This is where you got to be careful. I've lifted the switch off. I'm going to take a picture here. But there's the C-clip on that rotary cam there we're going to take off. This is all gummed up. It could even be the solenoid itself that's gummy. We'll see as we dig deeper. This could be spring loaded. You've got to be careful. I'll take pictures and mark it. Okay, that in fact is the switch. It is spring loaded. One of the snaps was out. I snapped it back down. I marked it just in case. We were on track 2 before all this. And in here is where we're going to look. This is where that's either glued or dried up. That's dried up, caked on gunk. I'm going to take him off next. I've noted his position also. I might mark it. Okay, that C-clip was probably one of the hardest ones to remove, but we didn't lose it. Lift our cam off, which appears to be in good shape. Put the C-clamp in a safe place. Looks like we have one oil washer here, and get a look at this. I don't know exactly what's going on here yet, but we'll get into that. A little oil washer out of there. That plunger works pretty good though. That's not our problem. Okay. I have to look at what the head is sliding up and down on. Could be this could be this post right here with the white grease on it, binding up right here. We'll walk the mechanism and see what happens. Okay, I've removed the flywheel to gain some better access, and there's another cam on the bottom of the flywheel that actuates this lever here. And I'm suspecting right here, this pot metal that's got that's the head right there. So I believe this is what's stuck. We got a little oil washer here. We'll oil that. I'll put that back on the capstan. Okay. May remove this assembly. Let's see what we can come up with. So after soaking and soaking in a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of focused heat, I tried the soldering gun station, but it just wasn't quite hot enough. And I tapped, but I only tapped once. No hammers, no anything, no mushrooming the pin here. But now the head moves. That's the whole head assembly right there. And it's spring loaded. Our culprit was right here, of course, the bimetal corrosion, whatever you want to call it, on not that shaft that looks terrible. It's right in there, that end one right there. I have a good mind to soak this in oil or something overnight, or put it in and give this thing an oil bath. Okay, I'm just going to let this capstan bearing just sit on the stove here on the grill, on the grate. Let that oil seep in there. I've seen people actually do this to high-end turntables, the bearings under pressure, under vacuum, and watch the air bubbles escape and whatnot. But I'm just going to oil it up because it was pretty free spinning. It's just that head, I call it the elevator, whatever you want to call it, that was gummed up. Now, I want to get a shot in the top bearing of that motor. Okay, and here's the thing with these Panasonic, National, whatever. If you ever need to get one of these motors, good luck. They seem to be specially designed only for their equipment, and they're just unobtainable. I was able to, I think it was in an earlier video, I was just playing a Hank Williams 8-track, one of the earliest videos I think on my channel, shows a Panasonic playing it. I managed to get it. A Motorola surplus motor from surplus sales in Nebraska. And I don't even know if they have them anymore. Maybe they do. The Motorola motor. And that happened to work in these, except the polarity was backwards. I had to hook it up backwards to make it go forwards, which was fine. But this has a fast forward function, so that motor would not be a direct replacement. I think most of these are 3,000 RPM. I'm not sure. I could tack this when I'm done, but all I'm going to do is get a shot of oil in that bearing right there. I would call that a success. I put a couple drops there, and I don't even know if it's a drop, but this motor coats very well. This is the golden nugget of this little player right there. Okay, this falls under get in, get out, short-term memory. whatever. We've got our capstan clean. We have our hands clean. If you're dealing with oil and lubricants and tape paths, the two should never meet. Oil in its places only and nowhere in the drive or any place else. So I'm going to put the capstan bearings back in with the head elevator, whatever you want to call it, up, down, track changer. And we'll do a little more lubrication, but I've just been cleaning everything. I'm just using warm, sudsy water here. I have alcohol for tough jobs too, but yeah, that's the way we're going to do this. Okay, as I've done before, any place where you see the grease, I like to use the PTFE. And we'll just put a little dab wherever they've had a dab. In fact, I like using both. A little bit of oil and that, but I'll stick to what they've done here. I might even stick a little in there, just maybe that'll keep things free, who knows. Now these bearings here, these oil bearings for the capstan, the oil could walk up the capstan still, so we'll keep mindful of our test tape. We'll have to sacrifice somebody, but that's the underneath. We'll put the belt back on and slap this portion together. Well, as we tip things over, we see this little coil spring and oil washer. We'll have to try and figure out where he came from. I did have the switch reassembled. It could have possibly come out of there and rides on our cam over here. I'm not sure. Or it could be the head. I'll have to do some investigative. It could be that. Could be that. I'll look at the lubricant and whatnot, see if it matches. Look for any signs of where it was. Yeah, it's the same color lubricant. Yeah, well, again, I really don't think it was the head spring. I could, maybe there's a SAMS on this. I don't know. We get the exploded diagram, but I'm going to pull the switch and drop it in under there. I think that's where it came from, because that shaft was removed. And there will have to be some spring action holding against those switches, you know, the rotary switch there. So okay, well, just to be certain, I don't know if you could see that, but there's a hint of white grease at the bottom of that shaft. It was in focus. Yeah, well, there's white grease at the bottom of that shaft, okay, and there's a hint of white grease. Maybe it turned gray, but it's white at the bottom of that. And there's some white grease on one piece of this spring. So a little dab of white grease right at that end where the point is. So in any event, I'm going to put the washer against the metal and then the spring and then the switch back. I'm sure if it comes down to it, I can always get another diagram, but that fits just perfectly right on there. I'll have to go past the solenoid here and top it off with the spring. If we can do this one-handed here, like so, and get him past the solenoid. I know these rotating switches have to be under some type of spring loaded. We'll verify, but that's the way it's going. Okay, we're heading into the home stretch here. We do have our head action back. This is what was absent before. Now, is it going to work properly with the mechanism? I did spin it and pull the plunger, and it seems to have some action there, so we're going to button this up and see how it goes. Okay, we're all put back together. I did have a little curveball, but that's why you take pictures of the assembly and whatnot. This pin here, maybe from the heat and whatnot, it pushed up. It was up about 1/8 of an inch taller right out of the cast. So I've gone according to the pictures. I've got it all back the way it should be. Let's just reattach the resistor. Let's put it in and try it. The belt's all cleaned up. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try it in the set because there's another solenoid over here, so I can't dry check it easily. I'm not familiar enough with it. But it's back the way it should be. Yeah, although it functions properly, the track change isn't operating properly still. The tape transport and everything is quiet as a whisper, but the track change still has an issue. It's not performing as it should. The head moves up and down quite nice, but I think I got the spring or something's in the wrong location. I've got another Panasonic I'm going to check this against. As you can see, we're running out of light again. My, how time flies. I almost thought the switch, what I've done is I reversed the spring and washer in the spring. Maybe it was getting caught up on the plunger. I don't know. I can always look. I have a Sam's on order for this. It should be in. I can see the exploded diagram. I almost think the switch was bound up, but it's cleaned now. It wasn't terribly dirty, but maybe it was gummed up. But I'm still getting this too light business when the tracks change. Which there's something wrong with the matrix there. Boy, this is really doing it bad. However, the head is changing. We'll get to that in a minute. Oh, let me get some light in here. The head is changing as it should. Track 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to 1. I don't know what this light business is all about. We'll get to that. I did find a tape with some beryllium copper pads that haven't fallen off yet, so we're going to try that out. Oh, I have to hook my audio up here. Hold on. Again, I had to review the video how I had those audio connectors in. I don't want to be recording over the tape. Any event, here we go. I've already stuck the tape in. Let's see what's going on with this track switch here. There's just something wrong. We'll check the connections. I don't want to play with it while it's running. 2. 3. The only good one is 4. And both channels are well. Left. What, no right? Okay, this thing sounds fine on both channels. It was the record switch. Worked out a couple of times, get both channels back. I'm just going to figure out the lights. I'm not too worried about it. It changed tracks automatically. It didn't break. Plenty of volume. Right, left, tone. Change. Yeah, I don't know what could be with this switch. There's not much to go wrong. Yeah, looks a little fatigued there. I'm just going to touch these up. Maybe again the pads are oxidized. The wires are tight. If you touch the switch, it bad grounds. The grounds are all together though. We'll work on that. I think the switch is just flaky. Really not much to that switch wafer. Now the in-between songs here. Let's work on the switch. I need to get a tape where I know what track is what here for starters. Okay, I know I may take copyright hit for this one. I'll be quick, but we're on track 4. We got Some Girls Beast of Burden. This is the tape with an extra verse added with on Miss You, track 1. But here we go, track 4. There's the verse. Yeah, the lights are all messed up. That's 2. That's 3. And that's 4. So track 1 says 4. I have to see what's going on here. All right. Well, hallelujah. I soldered the grounds again. I checked the connections back here. Took the switch apart a 3rd time. Took a pencil eraser to the pads and the contacts. And what do you know? We got track 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the head action. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try a tape. You see, these lights, these bulbs have a lot of hours on them because as the machine is on, you have to be ready for record because this is a record deck. So these lights stay on constantly. That's why this one here's a little grody. I bumped it and took a little chunk of the dried rubber off. But okay, another copyright hit tape here, but at least I know the songs. I'll bang through the 4 tracks real quick. We're on track 4 now, so it should be either Rock and Roll or When the Levee Breaks. Get some volume here. Let's check our volume. AM and FM here. That's our balance. Okay. That's tape, one of the 2. Let me see what's going on here. I got track 3. Alright, that's supposed to be track 4. I don't know what is going on here. Stairway to Heaven's track 2. These lamps been rearranged. I don't know what is going on here. It's stranger than fiction here. This is too much. Now the lights are working, but we'll get the wrong indicator. That's track 4. It's off in one track. So I play around with those switch wafers again. Maybe I've got the top one and the bottom one. I have no idea what's going on here. It can't be the head. There's no way to change that. So I do some research. That's the top track is forward when the head's up top. And I'm not adjusting my way into anything. These adjustments haven't been touched. Nothing wrong with this thing, except that. Well, lifting the switch, I notice now what that other solenoid is for. This automatically ejects at the end of 4 cycles. 4 tracks. If you're recording, it ejects the tape out. Okay, I've eliminated the top switch there, and now I know why there's 21 volts on this lead here. That's why we want to be real careful. Goes around 1, 2, 3. On the 4th one, pew, shoots the tape out. That's what the top of the switch is for. Our problem is underneath. We got to check the bottom because we still have the light activity. That's the reason for the 2-sided switch. Okay, I think I got this licked. I had to do a review of 8-track 101 here, and what I've come to find is, even though it's a 32nd of an inch or whatever these, I don't know what these are separated by, but by this pin here moving, it threw the alignment way off, and I didn't want to touch any of the alignments. I did it by hand. I pushed it up and down, got as close as I could, and I'm in the range of the azimuth screw there. So I have the proper channel indicator, I have the proper channel balance. It's just, that's the left, that's the right. We'll put the top segment of the switch on. Okay. I've got a good tape in it here, one with good beryllium copper pads, and now I know the songs. But it's actually growing on me, actually. I want to put this back together, but I'm going to have to wait another little bit. It's coming along just fine. Fast forward. It mutes. So I don't know what's up with the automatic eject. I'd like to know how that operates before I troubleshoot it. There are no broken wires or anything. Just all of a sudden it'll spit the tape out. It's labeled on the board down here, solenoid 10. Solenoid 605 is the main one here, I believe. I want to see this on the diagram. There may be a bad capacitor or something here. And it auto track changes. Well, it's not track change yet. Okay, that's going to do it for this portion. Maybe we'll get this Tom Jones 8-track ready for the next edition here. Get the spider. This tape here has not too bad. we'll do this now. I'm not going to do it. Don't lose them, but there are pads. They just have the copper, but the pads are they're there. So we're going to put a dot of super glue on each one and let it sit. Here's the SAMs for the head assembly. It does not show on the cam there the spring at the bottom, and it shows another Teflon washer on top, which was not in our unit. It's basically, there's a Teflon washer here which is absent on ours. Here's the one on the bottom, and I have the spring right here, but that does not show on the diagram on the shaft. But that's not a big deal. There's changes to this stuff all the time. And the record switch function here is part of the record playback slide switch, so that is why the eject must only work in the record mode. Here's our eject solenoid and the track solenoid, and this does not occur on one unless this switch here, which is part of the record switch, is satisfied. Here's their depiction of their test tape where they put a tone above and below, two different frequencies above the track, and you adjust your VTVM for minimum.